From the fans thinking that Yellowstone's fifth season was an utter disappointment, to a bunch of behind-the-scenes drama that caused the series to end prematurely, here's the real reason why Yellowstone Season 5 is the end of the show. For starters, most of Season 5 wasn't very impressive. So in a pretty interesting turn of events, it's not the critics that seem to dislike the season this time. Instead, it's the fans themselves that aren't having any of it. Season 5's audience scores have tanked. Like, they're on a new low, and let me tell you, it's not a shocker. The Rotten Tomatoes score from the critics is okay, but the audience score has hit rock bottom. Yikes! So, what the heck is going on? How did such an impressive show fall short? Well, it seems like the fans are trapped in a never-ending debate. They just can't decide why the show is so terrible now, but one thing is clear, it just ain't what it used to be. Critics say that Yellowstone has turned into a soap opera like Dallas, with Beth taking on her inner Alexis Carrington. And man, it hurts to hear that. Case is the only saving grace, while the rest of the characters are like caricatures in a B-movie melodrama. The creator of the show, Taylor Sheridan, is spread too thin, and now it shows on screen. Maybe he should have hired more writers? Personally, I totally get where the fans are coming from. The show really did lose its charm in its fifth season. The new season's first two episodes are like a rerun of old plot lines, with Beth doing her typical routine at the bar. Snooze fest. It's like the characters are stuck in a time warp, doing the same things over and over again, which makes them very predictable. It's a real pity that the final season was so lackluster, especially when you consider the show's amazing journey. Like, it's crazy how Sheridan was able to convince Viacom executives to produce his TV series. The man threatened to write and direct all of the episodes without input from anyone else. That's one way to convince a studio, I guess. Anyway, the executives were happy with the premise of the show, which follows a wealthy ranch owner fighting off various opponents to maintain his way of life. And that's how the show Yellowstone was born. I'm sure y'all know that the series went on to become one of the most popular shows on television, with Sheridan now in charge of a 9-show franchise for Paramount called the Taylorverse. Although he's a demanding boss, his scripts have attracted top acting talent, including Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. Yellowstone was a success from the get-go, but it's sorta sad to see it come to such a disappointing conclusion, because it's now been confirmed that Season 5 will, in fact, be its end. After all those rumors about Yellowstone ending, Paramount has officially confirmed that the show will wrap up with the second half of Season 5. But don't worry, there's a twist. We're getting a spin-off series to binge-watch in December, potentially featuring our favorite characters in another epic tale. Sure, it's a bummer that Kevin won't be involved, but with the show's declining quality, maybe it's for the best that it's ending soon. Let's just hope it sticks the landing and retains the quality of its earlier seasons. Even with the fifth season being kinda mediocre, let's not forget how good those first 4 were. That's also the reason why it sparked a wildfire of spin-offs. You know, the network wasn't solely relying on Yellowstone for its success. There are now other shows set in the same universe that are just as successful. You've probably seen 1883. It's a prequel series that premiered in December 2021. And it tells us how the Dutton family became owners of the land for the Yellowstone Ranch. The show stars Sam Elliott, Tim McGraw, and Faith Hill. And even though it didn't get renewed for a second season, there's more expansion in the Yellowstone universe. There's another prequel series called 1883, The Bass Reeves Story. That'll star David Oyelowo, and it's expected to be released sometime in 2024. Oh, and the other prequel, 1923, is actually a sequel to 1883 and follows Jacob and Kara Dutton 40 years later. The show stars Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford, and the first season was a hit. Fans can't wait to see what happens next, and some are speculating that the second season could come out in 2024. Plus, there's also the new spin-off that's got everyone hyped. This time, it's going to star none other than Matthew McConaughey, the second favorite cowboy in Hollywood. I mean, Kevin Costner will always be number one, right? The show, set in the present day, will take place on the Four Sixes Ranch in West Texas, a place with a rich history that spans 2 centuries and covers an entire county. And the best part? Many of the beloved Yellowstone characters are expected to make an appearance. In fact, during the first part of Yellowstone's 5th season, there was already talk of moving some of the herd to the Four Sixes Ranch. So it's highly likely that we'll get to see some familiar faces in this new series. The official synopsis promises an epic Western adventure that delves into the rich history of the 4-6's ranch and the rugged terrain of West Texas. So it's definitely a show to keep an eye out for. Now, some are wondering if the success of the spin-offs is why Yellowstone ended. Well, kinda yes and kinda no. According to sources, it's not just the spin-offs that led the main series to an early grave. Apparently, there was some personal drama between the show's creator, Taylor Sheridan, and Kevin Costner, the lead actor. And boy, was the drama really serious. Turns out Kevin had a serious falling out with the people over at Paramount. Apparently, it all started with a disagreement about the shooting schedule. But now there's even more bad blood between him and creator Taylor. Costner is holding out on finishing the remaining episodes, as he wants to make sure his character gets a proper send-off before committing. But with all this drama, who knows what will happen? Fans might not get the ending they were hoping for, and we can't help but wonder if the show could have continued if all this drama didn't happen. But that's not the only reason why he wasn't able to shoot the 5th season properly. There's also the fact that he's got an overload of commitments in his jam-packed schedule. Kevin's lawyer came to his defense, denying any accusations that he didn't want to film the show, claiming that they're all false. But the big question is, if that's true, then why isn't the second half of the 5th season getting made? Well, it seems that Kevin's schedule is full! He's currently filming his latest movie, Horizon, and on top of that, he's working on an 8-episode documentary series for the History Channel. He's not only the host, but also the executive producer of the series, which is all about the Wild West. I mean, 8 episodes? That's a lot of work. It's no wonder he doesn't have any time for Yellowstone. Fans of the show are disappointed, though. They feel like Kevin owes it to the show to give it a proper conclusion, especially after all the years he spent on it. Sure, he's free to do whatever he wants with his time, but his absence has left a void in the show that's hard to fill. After all, you just can't end the show without John Dutton being involved. That's like serving a burger without the patty. It's been reported that Kevin Costner hasn't agreed to film the second half of Season 5 yet. And as you just heard, it may be because of all of the bad blood behind the scenes. Apparently, he knows that some people on the production side have some sort of problem with him. And who wants to go out with a bang if it means they're going to be written off in a less than flattering way? I can't blame him for that. But come on, let's put our egos aside and give the fans what they want, a satisfying ending to the show. If they don't, they risk ruining everything the show has built up until now. I mean, it's not like they haven't damaged the show already. Since Yellowstone had the potential for several more seasons, I bet a ton of fans were still hoping for more of the Dutton family, especially since the show has built such a strong emotional connection with its viewers. Even Josh Lucas, who plays the younger John Dutton, expressed optimism about the show's future before the ending was confirmed. In an interview with E! News, he highlighted how the series has evolved over time, creating emotional attachments with many of the characters. Josh believed that the show could continue with a renewed focus on other members of the cast, like Rip and Beth, and praised Taylor Sheridan for his ability to take the show in any direction he chooses. Despite all of that, though, Taylor ultimately decided to end the series. Fans are understandably upset that they won't be getting the closure they were hoping for with the Dutton family. But from a bunch of behind-the-scenes drama that caused the series to end prematurely, to the fans thinking that Yellowstone's 5th season was an utter disappointment, that was the real reason why Yellowstone Season 5 is the end of the show.
I, however, was aware of just what a huge problem you could be. I was prepared.